but Sanji, he goes up to Vegapunk and says, hey, something that you said doesn't sit right with me, and we get a flashback of what Vegapunk experienced before all of this happened. As a Sanji fan, it feels really darn good that he was able to successfully beat the allegations after everything he went through, especially allowing Vegapunk to get hit by Saturn's laser.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
I know a lot of us are really happy that what was revealed in this chapter wasn't exactly Sanji's fault for what happened previously. This is One Piece chapter 1123. It is titled The Void Fortnight. I thought it was a really good chapter, especially with us being able to see everything that Vegapunk was able to do previously and prepare, for Saturn, for CP9, for the Straw Hats, all because of what he was able to see in the past. The chapter, it starts off with the repercussions of Joy Boy's hockey bomb. We see so many different Marines there knocked unconscious, and I really want to highlight Doll being unconscious as well. Now, you could make the argument it's because she's a little girl, but at the same time, I don't necessarily think that has any effect in regards to willpower. So I think it's really cool seeing that she's knocked out, because that means that Joy Boy's hockey is powerful enough to knock out a vice admiral. And they even mentioned that hockey was superior than Shanks. And I know that One Piece film Red isn't necessarily canon. There's some canon aspects in it, but if you look at that movie, I believe that Shanks' hockey, it was enough to bring vice admirals to their knees and not necessarily knock them out. So that means that Joy Boy's Conqueror's hockey is on another level, and that he has displayed the best feat for Conqueror's hockey in the series. I know some people might want to argue Shanks for what he's done so far, and some people might even want to argue Garp for what he did with his Galaxy Impact and everything we've seen so far with him versus Aokiji at Hashinosu in the anime. But in my opinion, I think that Joy Boy has displayed the best Conqueror's hockey feat in the series. I love this, seeing Luffy say his goodbye to Emmett, saying thank you for everything that he's done, because without him, this arc wouldn't be possible, with him unleashing that bomb and allowing the Gorosei to be transported back to Mary Joel. We didn't see Saturn in this chapter. I assume that in the next one it's going to be the conclusion between Emmett and Saturn, but everybody, the Giants, there's Luffy, there's Bonnie, the Straw Hats, we see their ship as well as the Giants. They're headed out of Egghead and they're going to Elbaf. Everyone's celebrating, just excited. We see Luffy, he's out of his gear 5th, he's out of it. We know how it is, but Sanji, he goes up to Vegapunk and says, hey, something that you said doesn't sit right with me, and we get a flashback of what Vegapunk experienced before all of this happened. So apparently there are 3 Stellas that know, or at least had knowledge of what was happening. They said that there were some readings that was incorrect in regards to the mother flames, and it indicates that someone is stealing it. And so the individuals that were here was the original Vegapunk, Shaka, and Pythagoras, meaning that the other Vegapunks were suspects, and obviously we know who did it. I feel like we're playing a game of Clue, like who did it? Was it Professor Plum? But we know as readers who did it, but in the past they didn't know who it was. I love how Vegapunk, each time he was like, hey, it was Lilith did it, he just kept on blaming her and just saying that. But Pythagoras, he ended up realizing who exactly it was, and that it was York, because her memories that were uploaded to the, I forget what it's called, to the Punk records, what she was uploading was faulty records, and they didn't match exactly what they should. So they came up with the conclusion that it was her. So they're freaking out a little bit, because they're like, okay, well, what is going on? Like, why would she do this? She also, was able to get in contact with the world government, telling the Celestial Dragons that Vegapunk is researching the Void Century, and we know that that is a taboo. So that is why they were ended up getting wiped out. Why Kizaru, why Saturn, and you could say a Buster Call sized fleet was here to eliminate them. They talked about the Mother Flame being stolen. They talked about how the weaponized sea beasts, they were being moved, and that was probably how it was delivered. They also talk about, the nuking of Leloucha, and that the world government probably has an ancient weapon, which would be Uranus, and they need the Mother Flame in order to be able to use that weapon consistently. And so Vegapunk, he talks about how this is all his fault, how he feels, sorry about him being greedy, and this is what it caused. It caused the world government to gain this power in order to wipe out different nations and different countries. And Shaka, he's like, hey, now that we know all this, we can escape, we can get out of here, it's not too late. But Vegapunk, he decides that it's more important to risk his life and give up his life in order to protect everyone else, in order to get this broadcast out, created, and try his best to use Egghead's resource to provide information to the entire world, which is something that O'Hara wasn't able to do. This makes me like Vegapunk a little bit more as a character. I'm on record saying that Vegapunk's dumb for choosing the world government over the freedom fighters, and how he was so obsessed with his greed, how he flew too high to the sun. But because of him realizing everything, and I mean, there's stuff that later was revealed in the chapter that I'll talk about a little bit later, but everything that he did to ensure that the rest of the world would survive, I respect him for it. But if you guys have made it this far into the video and you're liking the content, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. We pump out different content all the time. We see that he ended up putting the transponder snail in the ancient giant, and he was able to end up tricking York a little bit. We know that she eventually came to the conclusion that that's where the transponder snail was, that it was inside Emmett. But we see here in the flashback, this is kind of why she was able to figure that out, because in this flashback, Vegapunk was lying, saying, hey, he was just testing something out, when in actuality he was putting it there. So that's why York was able to figure it out. We see them start to record the broadcast that we know and love, and what has taken up almost a lot of Egghead. We see Pythagoras, we see Vegapunk, and Shaka. They end up having to erase their memories so that it won't interfere with what's uploaded to the Punk record, so that way the other Vegapunks won't know what's going on, specifically York, because, well, if she were to know, then what would be the point of the whole broadcast, and just everything would be out of order. So yeah, if they're able to succeed in doing all this, victory will be theirs, and yeah, they'll have to give up their life for it, but Vegapunk much rather does that than see the world government wins. And then when he wakes up, I find it funny because he left himself a note talking about everything that's going on, and all of a sudden, oh, Cyberfoal's here, oh, the Straw Hats are here, oh, CP0 and freaking Kizaru and Saturn are here. So Vegapunk, he's freaking out. I also love how we got to see the Sanji interaction, and I mentioned earlier that Sanji isn't a fraud and that, he beat the allegations, and this is because Vegapunk, he says, hey, like, once you rescue Bonnie, don't necessarily worry about me, you don't have to worry about letting me escape, just let me die here. Because in this moment, he doesn't know exactly like what's going on, but he says that, hey, I have a feeling that my death will lead to something important, so you have to let me die. And we know that is his death was the trigger to start the broadcast. So Sanji, the reason why, even though, I mean, he probably thought Vegapunk was crazy, but the reason why he wasn't really trying to necessarily save him is because Vegapunk asked him not to do so. The chapter ends with, still talking about the flashback and seeing what Vegapunk, he says to Sanji. Says one more thing, I want you guys to be the one to find the One Piece. I think that's really dope. I don't necessarily know why Vegapunk said that. It could be because of the relationship with Dragon he has. It could be because of what he's seen with the Straw Hats so far on this arc, seeing how nice they are meeting them and believing that they're individuals that can change the world for the better, at least have it over other pirates and potentially the world government. And in this panel we see Dorian Bragi and Oimo and Kashi, I believe that's his name, all the giants, they are raising Luffy up, who's like, hey, put me down, I'm tired. We also see Usopp, the center of attention, he's getting raised up as well. And I like this specifically because Elbaf is a really important arc for Usopp. Hopefully he does something really cool, because he ain't did shit in this arc. And so seeing him in Elbaf next arc, potentially meeting Yasopp, and that's where he's always wanted to go, to be a brave warrior. We know how much he looks up to the giants. I think this panel, seeing Usopp get raised up and being the center of attention, is really cool. But yeah, that's One Piece chapter 1123. I personally liked the chapter. I think it was very information heavy, and we got a lot of things revealed, specifically about Vegapunk, learning a little bit more about the past and about his character and just everything that led up to why he did the broadcast. I think that's pretty cool, and I think that confirms that he's dead, seeing this, and that he's not going to make it out. So I'm here for it. I think that One Piece needs more characters to be dead, and if Vegapunk ends up come back to life, I'll be pretty upset about it. I don't think Egghead is technically done. I think we still have a couple loose ends to tie, specifically with Saturn and Kizaru. I think that's going to be it. But in terms of like the fighting with the Straw Hats, I think their story's done. I think Egghead will probably be done in probably about less than 5 chapters. I did see something on Twitter. I haven't read it yet, but I saw Otis said some form of message about like going to Elbaf or something like that, and so I'll read it after this video, and if it's something of importance, I'll probably have it on the screen while I'm talking. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know how you guys feel about this chapter in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It's on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.